We've got two speakers. Our first speaker today is Luke Wheatley. I've known Luke for a few years now, and he is the Creative and Brand Director at Flight Centre. It's fair to say that Flight Centre as a business has and still continues to go through an amazing transformation. Still an amazing brand, still a place you go to get your all of your travel needs satisfied, but as a person that's been inside the business, let me tell you, these guys produce an enormous amount of content. You know, when I first spoke with Luke about how much content his team produces, I was absolutely astonished, and probably out of the big customers that we speak to, they produce the most and the highest quality of content out of all of our customers. So without further ado, welcome Luke, and
Thank you.
welcome.
Thanks
very much.
Wow. Oh, I need this. That's right. Hello, everyone. Wow, that's high praise. I don't know if I can live up to that, but I will do my best. So thanks, everyone, again for being here. I'm going to go through one project that I worked on all the way from the idea all the way through to the execution of it. And if you have any questions, please just ask as I'm talking. I'm more than happy to be interrupted. But yeah, so to start off, I just want to show you a trailer, and I'm going to explain how I made this a reality. Now, keep in mind, I have never, ever, until this time, produced a TV series. I have never worked on a TV series, so I had no place to make a TV show, but I still did it.
Epic. That was definitely an experience.
Yeah, so that's a trailer for our second season for, oh, thank you. So that's a trailer for the second season of our TV show that's on Channel 10. But I want to go through how that was a reality, how we made that a reality, and by producing that all in-house, using our own team, people who have never worked on a TV show before, never produced a TV show, never written a script for a TV show, or how to do a voiceover for a TV show, anything like that. We're all just trying to stumbling along, trying to make it happen. And it comes from passion, and it comes from not taking no for an answer. And that's the kind of theme for my presentation, is not taking no for an answer. But to take you through this, I want to take it at the start. How did it all come about? Now, I'm not here to sell you about Flight Centre. I'm not here to tell you how great Flight Centre is, but I have to tell you about the brand very quickly. We have a pretty high brand recall. Roughly about 95% of people in Australia know who we are. The other 5% of people, they're liars. Everyone knows who we are. We're a loved and trusted Australian travel retailer. Everyone knows us. We've got 900 plus stores in Australia. You can't walk into the city without tripping into a Flight Centre store. So we didn't have a problem about brand recall. Everyone knows who we were, but when I started about 3.5 years ago, our problem was consideration and relevancy in the market that keeps rapidly changing. I've been to a lot of presentations in the last 2 days. the one constant that I keep hearing is change, and we have to keep evolving, and that's something that we're really passionate about. So my challenge was really simple, which was to demonstrate our number one asset, which we hadn't done before, which was our own people. We have roughly 10,000 employees in Flight Centre. Each of them travel. Each of them have this knowledge and ability to book travel, and we wanted to highlight that. Our people was number one. It was paramount in what we did and why we were so successful. So the first thing I did was we created a new brand direction. And you might see a familiar face in this brand ad. I'm just going to play it very quickly.
Let's see. Kathmandu.
Timbuktu.
Machu Picchu.
Voulez-vous?
Ah, Milana. Havana. You drive through Arizona.
Pamplona.
The Ponte Vecchio.
Mexico.
Turkey. Albuquerque.
The Isle of Jersey.
You cross the Mersey.
To drive Tasmania.
Transylvania.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Landfærpul Gwyn Gilgogeo Quindrop or Landesilia Gogogo.
You'll love Delaware.
Yep. Here's the lowest fare. A farm in Devon. We're here 24/7.
Goa.
Samoa.
Cruise to Suva.
Ski Vancouver.
The home of Grange.
I can make that change.
The lowest airfare guarantee and all the right connections.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Anyone recognize someone? That best in the air and everywhere. Greer turns up in that brand ad. That was the start of our TV show. She's now our host of our travel show. She's actually a real consultant, and in the time when she's not traveling with me or my crew, she's actually still booking travel. And in fact, when we've got downtime shooting, she's still booking people's travel. So she's a real consultant. All those people in that ad were all real consultants. And that was the number one thing we wanted to do, was highlight our people and highlight our people in store. But then that gave me an idea. I did the ad. I'm sitting on set, and I met Greer, and I thought to myself, who better to do a travel show than the number one travel retailer in Australia? And I thought, no one else is doing that. That's crazy. It's such a simple idea. It's got to be a really easy sell, right? It's got to be so easy. Like, networks will pick it up, everyone will just throw money at me, and I'll be able to make a TV show. It really wasn't that easy. I had to start off with a pitch. So I'm kind of going to go through how it all worked, but the pitch to me was the number one. That's how I got my money. That's how I had to convince other people that it was worth them giving me their money to make something that I believed was going to do really well without any track record. So I kind of kept it really simple. I said, why is it unique? Why will people want to watch what I want to do? What's my distribution plan? And let me tell you, my distribution plan was Netflix were going to take it. We're going to get it on a broadcast network. Everyone's going to love it. That was my first pitch. Investment, how much is it going to cost? What's the return on investment? It's what every investor wants to know. Well, if I give you $100, what am I going to get back? And then what was the timelines? My timelines were crazy, stupid. I had no idea what I was doing. My timelines at the start were, this is October 2016, and I said, we'll be in market by February. We'll have the whole show done. 13 episodes. Didn't happen. But that was my idea at first. But most importantly, I showed my passion for the project and what I believed to be real. That's what I got told. In fact, I got told no, not once, but twice, 3 times. I kept getting told no. No, 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 that's stupid. The reasons, and there was a definitely no a few times too by the senior execs. The reasons were, it was too expensive. We don't want to invest in a TV show. We sell travel. Why would we do a TV show? It didn't promote Flight Centre enough. So I sort of started pivoting, going, well, how about we highlight a consultant? Why would we do a travel show? Like I said, we sell travel. It doesn't make sense. How would we distribute it? That was the number one question as well. If you go and make it, who's going to pick it up? And then we don't make TV shows. We sell travel. That wasn't the repeating kind of theme of the no's. But I kept changing my pitch. I kept listening to what people were saying no, and I took it on board, didn't take it personal. I listened to the no's, and I turned the no's into a yes. And I kept changing what my message was. So it took 4 no's to get a yes from the business. I kept changing my pitch. The original idea to where I got to at the end was completely different, but I was okay with that because I really wanted to get my message out there, which was a travel show. So then, I got the answer that I wanted, which was a yes, which was fantastic. I was like, yay, I'm going to make a TV show. This is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy. I've done it. It's not true. That's kind of like where the real work started. I was then given a really small budget to prove that I could do it, that it will work, and that someone would want to show it. And then I had to go into the planning. For those in the room who have ever done a small video shoot to a large video shoot, planning is the most critical part of doing what you do. So I had to make sure that every dollar that I was given was going to be on screen. So it went kind of like this. Queenstown was our pilot episode. I wrote up on a whiteboard all the things that I wanted to do in 48 hours. As you can see, most of those things you probably couldn't do. You can't fit all those things in 48 hours, but this was my wish list. So I kind of broke it down into activities, to restaurants, and something different. When you travel, that's what you look for. You look for where am I going to eat, what am I going to experience, and what's something different that I can do that I can't normally do at home. So I kind of wrote down all the things. I did research. I looked at a million websites. I also talked to our product people in store. I went and talked to anyone who'd been to Queenstown, and I said, what's the #1 thing you would do in Queenstown? And they gave me all the lists. So I got that list, and then I kind of started talking to people. So I'd ring up a helicopter provider, and it would kind of go like this. Hi, I'm Luke. I work for Flight Centre. We're doing a travel show. I'd love to go on a helicopter ride and film it. And they would say, oh, great, where's the show being shown? And I'd say, oh, I'm not too sure yet. We're doing a pilot. I don't know where it's going to go. And they go, but you don't have anything confirmed. You have no distribution confirmed. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, no, but trust me, it's going to be huge. And they're like, no, we're good. We're good. Good luck, though. We really liked meeting you, but it's not going to happen. So I had to keep changing my pitch then. I've already got the yes from making the show, but I had to then convince all these other people that they would help me. So every time I'd get a no, I kept changing my pitch. I kept trying to why do these people keep saying no? Because I wasn't giving them anything in return. So I kind of changed my pitch and said, it was a really simple sell. I said, look, we're coming over. I'd love to do a helicopter ride with you. The worst case scenario, we're going to give you all the raw files. It's all yours. You can use them after we've used the footage. And that turned my no's into a yes. All of a sudden, people were like, yeah, absolutely. We need the raw files. Every place loves footage. So that's what I did. I changed the no to a yes every time. But then I had a schedule. And that's kind of what our schedules look like. Now, we produce everything in-house. So I will write what we're going to do. I may have one of my creative directors being a producer or a director, but everyone in my team is making a TV show. So we do this, and we only have about 4 days in destination, maybe 5 days in destination to turn a whole episode around. So our schedules are jam-packed. We wake up at 5 a.m. and we don't go to bed until midnight. And I thought, we can do this. This is easy. This is so easy. I can just do that. Not everything goes according to plan. You have an hour to shoot something, and it ends up being 3 hours, and you're late for the next one. So we have more problems.
I've just arrived in my favorite destination in Europe, Italy. This is me. I'm sorry. Oh, me. I'm gonna be me. 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 What I'm gonna do, me. Time to go and meet her. Nailed it. Yes. Oh, sorry.
That's every day. Every day we shoot, we think we only need an hour. It ends up being 2 because we don't know. We try. And Greer, she's great, but sometimes you just can't nail what the lines are. So that was one of our troubles, and we had to learn how to adapt to that, and we had to give her more time and make sure all the crew have more time. And then sort of when we're in production, we're like, okay, great, how's it all work? Get all the footage back, and then you need to make sure that whatever you filmed is actually going to make a coherent story. It's going to actually come to life. It's going to look good. Will it grade well? Did we shoot it high res enough? Is it in focus? We don't know until we're kind of looking at the raw files back home after 4 days in a destination. So I'm going to kind of show you before grade and after grade situation. So that takes a long time just to do that in post, making sure that what we film looks good. And you would have seen very quickly in the trailer, we have an intro, which is all animated. I'm going to show you a quick video on how that kind of the story behind that. So what starts as crude drawings ends up being amazing animation. You know, thanks to some really talented people at Alt, who are a really good partner of ours. But what starts as an idea can turn to reality by just planning things out and making sure what you're doing is right. So then I made the pilot. I graded it all up. I made it look great, and then I had to show the business what I'd done. So I'd spent roughly about 3 months making the pilot. 4 days shooting, the rest of the time was in planning and then post-production. No one had seen it, just me. So it was time for me to show the business what I had done. And so I did. I showed our CEO, the head of marketing, our CFO, all in a room together, all for the first time watching the show. My career was either going to end that day or be really good. And I didn't know which way I was going to go. I was pretty passionate, but I don't know. And so long story short is, it went really well. That's why I'm standing up here today. But I had done a pilot, and they're like, well, what's next? I'm like, well, we'll make a whole series, and we'll get one of these guys to broadcast it. We're Flight Centre. Of course they'll take it. It doesn't work like that, I found out. So I didn't know the CEOs of any of these places, but I emailed them. I found their email. You know, anyone who wants to find someone, you can find them. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on Google. Type in their name. You'll find it because someone somewhere has kind of like linked them to a press release. And you can find people pretty easily. So I found them and I emailed them with a simple pitch. Hi, I'm Luke from Flight Centre. I've made a pilot. I think I've got a really great TV series. It's a travel show. I'd love to talk to you about it. Here's a trailer. I didn't get anyone. No one responded back to me. So I was pretty depressed, had like 3 weeks of like, that's it, it's all over. And then finally, Network 10, the CEO of Network 10, emailed me back and said, interesting, let's meet. So I flew down to Sydney, and I had a meeting with them. And I've never done this before in my life. And I'm sitting in this boardroom with these people way smarter than me who are going, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Who's funding it? And I'm like, oh, it's us, we're doing it ourselves, Flight Centre are doing it. And so pretty much Channel 10 came to the party, and it's a yes from them. They took it, so good for them. And it went on air 3:30 on a Sunday. So from October 2016, we were live on air July 2017 with a whole 13-part series. So we turned it around under 6 months. They said, we met in January, and they said, can you have it on air in July? And I was like, absolutely, no problem whatsoever. Everyone back home was just like freaking out because, you know, I had 12 more episodes to do. It takes so long to do everything, but we did it. And that's because we kept our passion and we kept going. And I guess, how did it go? We roughly had 6% of the total audience watching the show, roughly about 200,000 viewers per episode. The great thing about us, we had roughly about 20 to 30% increase in our destination sales. This is branded content. At the end of the day, we had to have a return of investment. So we saw destination intent increasing, which is fantastic. And we're starting to see our consideration increase as well because we're being relevant in the market. And we also recently sold to National Geographic internationally. We've got a lot more things on the way as well. Season 2 is being launched. We're looking at doing a feature documentary. I'm personally working on a few other side projects, some feature films, TV series. We've got to keep the passion alive. We've got so many more ideas, and the idea is we want to keep reinventing ourselves. We want to keep putting that passion through. So if I can kind of leave you with four guiding things that I've always stayed with, is just keep your passion. It doesn't matter if you get told no. A no is just a reason to keep changing your idea and to keep pushing. It's not a final answer. But yeah, listen to the reasons. Why is it a no? If the person just says, I just don't like it, you need to extract why they don't like it. What's the real reason they don't like it? And use that feedback to then turn it into a positive. And lastly, keep going. Just keep doing it. If you believe you've got a good idea, keep going. Keep that passion alive. And that's it from me. Any questions? Hi.
Hello. What kind of digital strategy did you launch with?
Yeah, good question. Digital strategy was, we had a whole integrated marketing campaign that backed this up. So on social, we would launch a trailer on a Monday, Tuesday, and feed that out slightly organically, and then we'd start putting paid money behind it to tell people that the episode's on. We also utilize our digital screens. We have digital screens in our stores, so we use that to tell people. We also looked at our SEO as well and started looking at different terms that people were searching for, and we utilised that to kind of put that back into the synopsis of our show. So when people were searching for things of Queenstown, the trailer would come up. We also, when the episode was airing, we would also showcase product that was featured in the show. And we have a whole blog. Our blog gets roughly 85,000 people per month to our blog, and about 6.5 minutes time on page. Each episode was supported with 3 blogs, stories about the show, about the episode, a full itinerary, everything that Greer does in the show. We featured on the blog, and you could purchase everything that she did on our website. So our digital strategy was pretty strong. On our homepage, we had a banner saying, watch the show, book the itinerary that Greer just did. Yeah.
Just have a question about production. Are you still producing the episodes in-house? And also just when you're out on location, basically what are you shooting on and how many crew do you have?
Yeah, okay, yes, we produce everything in-house. We have an in-house producer now who we've worked with from the start. She actually came in and worked from our first episode, not Queenstown, but the first episode after that. And we share the producing roles across the team. So a lot of our content writers that I have in my team, or account managers or designers who have an interest in production, they put their hand up for an episode and that will help. So our producers do change as well for each episode. I will write the majority of the episodes with my creative director, Kristen Bonner. I will direct, say, 5 to 6 episodes in this season, and she will direct the majority of the others. We have another director called Nikki, who is in our team. It's a full in-house production. The only thing that goes external is our post-production now. And from a crew point of view, we have 5 people in our crew, including 2 talent. And we normally spend 4 days, 5 days shooting, depends where the destination is. We shoot on a Red, and our secondary camera is a Sony A9. We use GoPros a lot, or small cameras when it's an activity. We shoot high-res 6K, but we also bring it down to ProRes. Yeah. Hello.
Just the rights, so you had your first season, and now has Channel 10 held the rights to that, or have you been able to blast it out through YouTube, or what's your?
Yeah, we have a deal. Our deal with Channel 10 is great. They have a 30-day exclusivity per episode. So after 30 days, we can do anything we want with it, within reason, obviously. We don't want to ruin our relationship with them. So after 30 days, it can go onto YouTube. We have it on our destination pages as well on our website. And we own the rights. It's our show. They distribute it for us in Australia. We own the global rights. We own all the rights to all the imagery. Yeah.
I've got a question.
Okay.
So you sell the idea to Channel 10 and you walk back into the team and go, guess what? We're now doing a TV show. You know, how did you execute this with the team that you've got? What was your... Did they just go, you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, they did. I think the response was, fuck. Are we going to get more people? Are we going to get some professionals in to help us? And I said, no. And I said, trust me, we're going to do it. And you know Kristen, you've met Kristen. Kristen Bonner is my creative director. She's very honest, and she's completely different to me. That's why we get on really well. And she sat me in a room, and she said, are you out of your fucking mind? Are you crazy? Sorry, am I allowed to swear? I did anyway. She said, are you out of your mind? You're crazy. How are we going to do this? She's like, look how busy we are. How are we going to go away and do this stuff? And I said, we're going to do it. Trust me, we're going to do it. And we didn't build a team besides one producer, and we did do it. But yeah, the initial reaction was, are you crazy? We can't do this. I know nothing about doing this. Yeah. But we did it, and thanks to hard work. We had sleepless nights. I had so many sleepless nights going, this is going to be a huge failure. What happens when it goes on air? Everyone's going to hate it. I'm waiting for Screw, our CEO, to call me into his area and you're fired. It never happened. And he wouldn't have done that anyway, but you have so many moments of this is going to be a disaster, and I just had to keep rising above it, and I keep going, no, it's going to be good. I've got to trust it, and yeah.
Last question. I'll jog.
There's one down there.
Hi there. You show some stats. Did you have the measures of success before you started this?
Yes, we did. Our measure of success for us, we had a few, but obviously one was to get on air. That was the first measure of success. The other, to do it. Our measure of success was we were kind of going blindly into this, so we didn't have amazing KPIs. Our KPIs were simple. We wanted 70,000 people to watch each episode. We thought that was a really good number. We knew that was a kind of a number that Channel 10 would be happy with. It was on 3:30 on a Sunday, so we had to be realistic. And also, we wanted to look at our organic reach. We wanted to look from a social point of view. We wanted to see what people were saying. We wanted to see shareability of the trailer and what people were saying about the brand. So that were our major KPIs. We obviously exceeded our KPIs. The other one was destination sales, but we didn't have, it must be 10% growth on destination sales. We were lucky that some destinations did very, very well. Cape Town went up like 200%, but we don't send that many people to Cape Town, so it's kind of a false number, you know. But places like Auckland went up 24%, that's huge. A lot of people go to Auckland. So yeah, that was kind of our measures of success. Cool.
Thanks, mate.
No, thank you.
That was awesome. Round of applause, please. So we're gonna, after Chris is finished with his section, we're gonna ask both gentlemen to come back up, and we've got questions at the end as well. So if you've got more questions for Luke, then please, please keep them. As a person that's been with Luke's team, let me tell you, there's another thing. These guys and girls are very proud of what they've achieved and the quality of the content that they produce. So congratulations, mate. Our next speaker, Chris Granger, is the co-founder of Granger Films and Granger VR. Over the past 20 years, he's made more than 150 programs for some of the world's biggest broadcasters, including National Geographic, BBC, and Discovery. In recent years, Chris's team has produced many high-profile advertising campaigns, 360 virtual reality series, and corporate productions. Welcome to the stage, Chris Granger.
How are we, guys? Can I get a raise of hands? How many people have experienced VR? That's quite good. All right, if you haven't, there is a headset in the exhibition hall, so make sure you go and have a test today. How many people own a VR headset here? Not many. How many people own a VR device? All of you do. You all have a mobile phone. So just next time, you can access pretty much any bit of VR content on your mobile phone. You just need a headset, and headsets are pretty cheap these days. All right, so today we're going to be talking about navigating and creating change and how we make it happen. I've been asked to try and sum up what we do with VR and in about half an hour, so I'll do my best to try and get everything into that. We're looking at a couple of different projects that we've worked on. We work with a number of big brands from Samsung to Qantas, right through to Tourism Australia, so a lot of travel stuff, some corporate stuff, experiential stuff. But for today, we're talking about two particular case studies, one being one with Qantas for Australia's first ever VR travel series called Australia in 360, and another one which is with this venue right here, ICC. They were looking to expand their portfolio and attract new business, and one of the best ways to do it for the international clientele was to have a VR showcase, showcasing this amazing building. So a little bit about us, I'll fly through this. We are content specialists, we're storytellers. We basically started out making documentaries, and we moved on to bigger and better things, and in fact I should say shorter things, because we started off making 1 hour programs, and our content started getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter as attention spans started getting shorter. But then as we moved into VR, we discovered that videos could be longer, and we could get people's attention spans back for longer. So we're basically creating, we basically started off working with traditional film and cameras, looking at everything directly in front of us. And we saw a hole in the market about 3 years ago where we decided it would be best that we kind of got in and started doing 360 experiences. We had a client come to us and say, we need a 360 video. We want something really premium. And at this stage, there was very few VR cameras and good quality headset experiences. And we didn't even own a headset at this stage. And we went, okay, well, we'll just make it happen. That's one of the great things about being a filmmaker, is you can actually challenge yourself to make new things. And for this was a big challenge for us. And without realising it was a big business opportunity for us as well. So I'll just play a little bit of our show reel. This is actually all in. Anyway, so I guess there's a big question about what is VR. Look, immersion, you can get immersed in a book, you can get immersed in a great movie. It doesn't have to be in a VR headset, but for immersion with VR, it is an immersive headset experience, so where you're actually wearing a headset. There is, for content's sake, there are 360 experiences where you're basically looking all around you, and then there's obviously 180 experiences. So there's all different types of cameras that we're using. Some people are using 3D 360, which is called stereoscopic, and others are using just 2D 360, which is essentially, it's just a 360 camera. You can, with 180 as well, you can use your panoramic settings on your photos within like your iPhone or whatever smart device you've got. So that's another way to kind of have these 180 experiences. For content on Facebook, for on YouTube, you can create that stuff already. But for what we were trying to do with VR, we wanted to actually kind of raise the bar, have better quality experiences, and so we've kind of pushed very much into the high end, big file sizes, really high quality cameras, and for really good VR experiences these days, you really need to have either sort of 6 to 8K minimum for a video experience. That way you can really see definition in every single VR experience. A lot of people are also talking about AR. We're only just starting to get into AR, so I won't talk much on this because it's not my expertise, but essentially the best example of AR is probably something like Pokemon Go, where you're using your phone and it's using digital elements in a live view that's utilising during using your smart device or using something along the lines of a smart device. Different types of VR experiences as well, just to give you a little bit of education around this as well. Stationary VR is probably the most common type of VR. Essentially, it is using something like Google Cardboard or Oculus Go. There's a number of different headsets that are out there, but essentially you're just staying in one place with a headset and you don't get to move in there. You're literally just turning around and viewing absolutely everything within that environment. Room scale VR, there is a room scale VR set up in the exhibition hall at the moment, and things like the HTC Vive or Oculus Go, sorry, not Oculus Rift, I should say, are what you'd use there. So you might have hand controllers and there is some form of movement within that environment. So you can't exactly run around the entire building, but you can move within a space where cameras are set up. Has anybody actually done a Vive or a Rift experience? It's pretty cool, huh? 4D experiences are kind of like the ultimate. For anybody that's seen Ready Player One, has anybody seen that yet? If you haven't, just go and have a look at that. Like, as far as I'm concerned, that is the future of VR experiences. It is wearing suits, haptics, where you can actually feel things within an environment. You can have senses, all your senses touch. So you can have smells, you can have sounds, all of these things that really kind of make you feel like it is a real experience. And I think that's the whole point of VR. It's just trying to give you pretty much as real an experience as possible. For some people it is, people are limited, especially one of the reasons we got into VR is because a lot of people aren't able to afford to travel to these amazing locations, or are disabled in some way and they're not able to get there. So one of the reasons we really got in there was because we saw an opportunity to be able to give experiences to as many people as possible. So yeah, keep an eye out. If you get an opportunity to do a 4D cinema or have any haptic technology, it's mind-blowing. And the last one is Magic Window. Technically, this isn't really VR, but it's kind of the grey area of VR. Essentially, this is using your smart device, and for anybody that has been on Facebook 360 and using your phone and panning it around, it's using the accelerometers, and it's essentially using the gyroscope of your phone, so you can actually use the entire environment. A lot of that, you'll see just on Facebook already, your friends are just posting 180 clips where you can just hold your phone and move entirely around. For higher-end 360 experiences, it can also be made, if the quality's high enough, it can be tapped into a headset mode. You can actually load your smartphone into, say, Google Cardboard or Oculus, whatever it is. Now, for us, just a little bit about our evolution of storytelling. Our beginnings were in 1 hour documentary. We made documentary series for BBC, National Geographic, and were travelling all around the globe creating this long format. And as the years progressed, we just noticed that people's attention spans were getting a lot shorter. And there also was just a need for every possible type of content. So there was square content, there was vertical content, there was horizontal content, and then there was 360 content. So we basically had to learn how to tell stories that were 1 hour in 1 minute. And that became very, very tricky because you guys know, probably just from going on Facebook alone, you're just constantly scrolling through stuff, and content is so snackable these days that you literally you view it and then you move on. You view it and you move on. And for us, we kind of thought, okay, well, we're going to keep doing that as a business with one part of our business, and then for our virtual reality side of the business, we decided that we had to create these immersive experiences. So the VR content for headsets, essentially a story is always the key. You need a great story in order to be able to captivate anybody, no matter what medium it is. For VR, it is quite challenging in the way that you're in a 360 environment and you cannot hide. You cannot hide, and there's a lot of work in post-production. So when we're in the early days of filmmaking, we used to be, just say we're out in Uluru, or just say we're in a room like this, I would kind of have to put the camera in the middle and then just hide down. And that was pretty much the way we did it. And as we got more experienced, we would start to patch ourselves out, and we would start to work on the post-production more. There's a lot of work in actually just pairing all the cameras together. So every shot that you use in VR has to be engaging. You essentially want to give the person as good an experience as possible. So we found that as the content was getting shorter with traditional media, we'd be having, say, a 60-second video where you might have, say, 20 to 30 cuts in that 60-second video. With VR, we probably only need 3 or 4 shots, up to which are ranging between 60 seconds, and it's engaging the people within that environment to keep them occupied, keep them focused, and to keep their attention span. With any VR experience, we want to make sure that we give the viewer room to move. I think for every experience, you want to be able to feel like you're in an environment. With some productions, we're in Uluru, and other productions, we're in Rottnest Island. We want to make sure that everybody is there and they're putting on the headset to be able to feel as if they can get away and actually really enjoy that experience. Make it an emotional journey as well if you're telling VR content. Experiences really need to feel like as close to reality as possible. And finally, whatever content we make in 360, we always make it for for all platforms. So a video that we're filming for a VR headset can also be made into a 360 post on Facebook or on other social media platforms. I'm just going to fly through this because I know there's a few filmmakers that are here today. So just a few tips and tricks in filming in 360. There's a number of different cameras out there, stereoscopic, monoscopic, 180, and there's ones for professional photographers and there's ones for amateur. 360 content in general is getting a lot more affordable and there's a lot more options in terms of cameras. So always look for a really good one that works with your production. Use the right equipment. You've got to bear in mind, we're not just capturing the 360 vision, we're also capturing the audio. Audio is incredibly important in these experiences because you want to be able to capture what is happening behind you, these triggers that make you focus all around the environment. Get moving as well. Utilise drones for 360 filmmaking, mounts, poles, record movement in your video. It actually gives a really good experience as well because quite often static shots, they just don't captivate you as well. So it always depends on the actual shot, but we use drones, we use remote control cars, we use segways just to get movement in our shots. Learn to hide, I've already kind of explained that. We've had all different types of suits that we've worn in the past, bush suits to try and get us hidden in the bush, and then obviously post-production we're just hiding people out as well. You've always got to take a clean shot in order to be able to patch people out because you're on beaches, you're in these locations where you might have tourists walking through on a travel program, so you need to be able to make sure that you can have an area that you can actually cut them out on. There's also software that can remove people, but it's a whole different conversation. Bracket exposure as well. I think with the naked eye, you can see things quite well, but when you're exposing for different lights, just say there is direct sunlight in here, you want to be able to expose for where the direct sunlight is and where the shade is, so you can use as much as possible in post-production. And then I guess one of the big things for a lot of people that have experienced 360 as well is quite often they get lost when they put a headset on. There is not a clear direction. And one of the things being storytellers, we've been able to kind of focus with presenters, focus with things like arrows, sounds, other triggers that really allow you to be able to look at the right spot, because quite often people get really lost in 360. So it's an incredibly important thing to be able to make sure when you've got somebody in a headset, you're captivating them in the right area where you want them to look. And finally, there's just another one for the filmmakers. There is so much more media when you're doing 360 productions. Like we have setups where we have up to 8 cameras, so there's 8 loads of media. So it is a beast to data wrangle. All right, just moving on to a couple of the projects that we've done. So Qantas, we've done a lot of work with Qantas over the years just with traditional filmmaking. And they were starting to explore VR. I think for a lot of premium brands, they want to be pushing the boundaries of being able to get into showing different types of content. And they have to meet the Instagrams, they have to meet the Facebook needs. And as 360 started to become a real hot topic, they wanted to get into that space. So they created a custom-made app which housed a whole pile of experiences. We started working with them very early on in the piece where we were doing a couple of projects. This is one project that we worked with out in Uluru, just to kind of give you a bit of behind the scenes. Uluru is one of those places that's a must-do on everyone's bucket list. We've been working with Qantas on this project. We basically took 3 months to get approvals on this, and we were working directly with the Arnanood people, which was a great experience both from a filmmaker's point of view and from a personal level.
In terms of the approval process, we worked closely with Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park, and they ensured that all the collaboration was with the elders, and it meant that we had a spectacular vision of Uluru and Kata Tjuta, but we remained culturally sensitive to their spiritual land.
One of the best things about it was actually getting to go out there and showcase the technology to them. For a lot of the Arnanood, they've never actually seen virtual reality before. And this is one of the oldest living cultures that are experiencing one of the newest technologies on the planet. This is never seen before footage for not only VR, but also for the traditional owners.
So the way that we usually work with film crews is that we look at different locations and where the sacred sites are, and we can say, okay, we can shoot from here, this place to this place, so that we frame out the sacred site, or we use camera tricks. But with VR, this is a complete game changer because you're seeing a 360 view. The first thing for me as a media officer was to determine what are the best locations that we can feature the beauty of the park without seeing the sacred sites, but that we can see a 360 view.
Virtual reality at Uluru basically means you can be transported from a city office to where you are out in the outback, and it's all about experiencing the sounds. It's all about feeling the movement of the desert, feeling the movement of the wind. It's amazing.
Skip through that because we're getting a little bit tight on time. Essentially, Qantas don't want to replace people travelling. They want to inspire people travelling. So that's the whole point about having this VR offering. They have their custom-made app where they're able to feature a number of experiences. Their focus is usually on Australia, just because they're wanting to have as much inbound travel as possible. So we went to them and pitched an actual travel series, and there'd never been a 360 travel series done in Australia. So we decided to work with one of their social media influencers, who is also a celebrity chef, and we produced 5 to 7 minute episodes. And this is kind of just a little bit of an example of one. I won't play the whole thing just because it's a little bit...
Welcome to Kangaroo Island, the 3rd largest island in Australia and found just off the coast of South Australia. It's known for its regional produce and beautiful wildlife. Fun fact, only 1 person per square kilometre lives here. Kangaroo Island, or KI as the locals call it, is surrounded by dozens of walkways and boardwalks. They give perfect access to the multiple lookouts and beaches, and along the way allow you to get a great perspective of the island. I've made my way down to Seal Bay, and if you take a look to my left, you will see why I'm so excited. What you are looking at are the beautiful sea lions, and it's just incredible to be in their presence. Here they are, some of them chilling out on the beach, also known as their bedroom, I guess. And they've got the ocean to kind of frolic in as well. You'll see sea pups, play fighting. It's just a really special moment and a really unique part of not only Kangaroo Island, but the world. Somewhere you've got to get to.
Anyway, I'll keep moving on. A really, really successful series for Qantas. So they obviously had the app that they had made, and that's available sort of on the App Store, on the Play Store, and you basically go in and you download the full quality experience. Streaming tends to be quite a big issue with VR. A lot of people that are streaming with Google Cardboard. It depends. A lot of people don't understand that your phone is quite often preset to something, so it might be preset to something that is high definition or a lot lower, and really you want to be experiencing this 4K and above in order to have a good VR experience. So if you've ever had a bad experience, it's probably because your settings on your phone have been wrong. So the way they put it out through Facebook, YouTube, and Google Cardboard, which is, they have all their Qantas Google Cardboard headsets branded, and they also have it through the business class lounge as well. So this travel series, along with the meditation series that we did for them, is usually available in a lot of the business class lounges if you have an opportunity at some point when you're travelling to have a look at. And then flying through this venue right here, we worked with Tourism Australia and ICC on this particular project. They were looking at doing something very different. They have event planners from all over the world that are wanting to experience these venues, but the limitations are, obviously it's a long way for people to come, and then also it's expensive and time consuming. So they wanted to be able to basically put headsets in the hands of their event planners so that they could experience these locations and be able to look at how they could plan an event of sorts. So what we did was we actually worked with them to be able to create an entire showcase. So we created 360 panoramas, we created 360 videos, one being a personalised tour and another one being a hyperreel essentially, which shows all of the best things. So this is the virtual reality showcase hyperreel.
Welcome to Sydney, the ultimate destination for your next event. A world-class city with stunning attractions and a vibrant business, innovation and creative hub. Welcome to International Convention Centre Sydney, Australia's premier integrated convention, exhibition and entertainment venue. Situated in the heart of Sydney. Only a short walk to all major business and entertainment districts. It's a venue with capability and capacity for all occasions. A stunning design welcoming brilliant minds and the world's most prestigious events. Immerse yourself. Discover premium meeting facilities. Explore fresh local produce. Create and showcase your brand. Partner in professional and seamless events. For a quintessential Sydney experience, ICC Sydney invites you to experience world class.
So that was pretty successful for them. So we did 2 videos there, and then all the 360 photography was a great way to kind of give something that could be housed in an app, but also have something that can be looked at on a desktop. For all the content that we're doing, where we're making sure that it can be viewed on a desktop, it can be viewed on a headset, can be viewed on your phone, as many platforms as possible, because everybody's basically viewing everything on different devices. There's no one correct answer these days for a lot of these things. So ICC said that this was a really, really successful campaign for them. They basically would send out headsets with all of their information, and you would be able to assemble it, download an app, and be able to have all the content just housed right there. So for a lot of the event planners, they were taking these headsets, they were experiencing everything, and then they were able to do things ahead of time when they were coming to the actual event. So we made a custom-made app for them on this that is viewable on pretty much all phones, and then it goes out through Facebook, YouTube and Google Cardboard as well. And they do a lot of one-on-one presentations as well in different headsets. So they have their Google Cardboard set up, which is obviously a more basic form of experience with VR, and then they have their high-end experience, which is in the Oculus Go, which is what they typically go and do most of their presentations with. And just a few key takeaways from this. So when you're looking in VR, you've got to look to produce videos and experiences that work well in a 360 environment. Not every single production will work in VR. There's a lot of limitations in VR, and it's a much higher end budget experience when you're working with your client. Like, you don't expect to do VR on the cheap because it just won't look great. Story is always the key. Make sure you have good talent, good interviews, great experiences, unique subjects, immersive environments and dream locations. So you want to be able to take people away. So for the meditation series that we did with Qantas, we were able to take people away from their desk and be able to have 10 minutes of just pure bliss with a beautiful narration, soothing sounds, and putting them. That's the whole point of it, really. For the filmmakers, shoot smart. The more time you spend setting up, thinking about the shot, the less time you spend in post. There's always a huge amount of work in post-production if you don't think the shot's through. And when you're working on the go, like working on a travel series, we were basically having to make do in areas where there were a lot of people that were tourists or just people that were running through, and we had to cut a lot of that out. So there was a huge amount of post-production on that. Use the right equipment for the job, the right cameras, audio recorders, software and computers. Just make sure you're using top-end gear, because it all comes down to the equipment for a better experience for the user. And finally, get moving. Utilise movement in all of your productions where possible. Drone shots, segways, whatever you need just to get movement. And I think that's about it.